Hello everyone, it's Jude Fay here from thisbusinessoftherapy.com. We live in interesting times and I hope that you're keeping safe and well wherever you might be and whatever you're doing. I wanted to speak to you today to remind you of a resource that's very close to my heart and which you probably have heard me talking about before. That resource is EFT or tapping, and it is a self-administered tool, easy to learn, which reduces the fight or flight reaction in our bodies and helps to support our nervous and immune systems. So I won't bore you with the science of it. You can read all about the scientific research on EFT Universe if you would like to do that. But today I'd just like to remind you again how simple a little tool EFT is, and to show you how you might be able to use it to support yourself and your practices at this time. So the easiest way to show it to you if you haven't seen it before is literally to bring you through it, and I'm going to do that with you now, using the breath as a way of demonstrating how effective it is. So I'm going to invite you to take a nice deep breath in through your nose and hold it for a moment. And then let it out. And another nice deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And then let it out. Now I'm going to ask you to imagine, if you can, that the maximum capacity of your lungs is a 10. How deep would you say that second breath was, measured on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is, yes, that's a full breath, I was using the full capacity of my lungs, and 0 is, actually I wasn't taking any breath in at all. So where do you think you might be on that scale of 0 to 10? I think for me I was probably about 5. Have you got that number? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through a round of EFT or tapping and show you how it works, and then we'll measure the breath again at the end of this exercise. So we're going to start by tapping on the side of the hand. This is called the karate chop spot, and if you were doing a karate chop on a brick, this is the edge of your hand that you would be using to break the brick. That's why it's called the karate chop spot. So we're going to start there on the side of the hand, or the karate chop spot, and saying out loud, even though my breathing is a bit restricted at the moment. Repeat the words after me while you're tapping. Even though my breathing is a bit restricted at the moment. That's just where I am and how I feel right now. We're going to repeat that twice more. Even though my breathing is a bit restricted at the moment. That's just where I am and how I feel right now. And one more time. Even though my breathing is a bit restricted at the moment. That's just where I am and how I feel right now. So before we go on, I'm just going to invite you to shake out your hands a little bit, and then using whichever hand you like, we're going to go to the top of the head. I'm going to tap directly on the top of the head. My breathing is a bit restricted at the moment. And again, repeat the words after me while you're tapping. Then we're going to the inside of the eye, where the eyebrow meets the bridge of your nose. My breathing is a bit restricted at the moment. And the outside of the eye, where the corner of your eye meets that bony bit there. My breathing is a bit restricted at the moment. Then under the eye, immediately below the pupil, on the bony bit again. My breathing is a bit restricted at the moment. under the nose, between your nose and upper lip. My breathing is a bit restricted at the moment. On the chin, where that little horizontal crease is in your chin there, my breathing is a bit restricted at the moment. Next we're going to the collarbone, and you can feel you have two little right angle bones there with a U in between them. If you put your fingers on the 2 points of those right angle bones and go out and down by about ½ an inch, there's a slightly softer place there, and that's where we're going to be tapping. You can tap with one hand, you can tap outside your clothes, you can tap with 2 hands, or you can take both of the points together using your hand like that. My breathing is a bit restricted at the moment. And then finally, under your arm, about 4 inches below your armpit, where your bra would be for a woman. Again, my breathing is a bit restricted at the moment. Now I'm going to invite you to take another nice deep breath in through your nose and hold it for a moment. And this time, let out a big, long out breath. And another nice deep breath in through your nose and hold it for a moment. And then let it out. Now I'm going to ask you to measure that second breath there, that last breath. When you compare that to the one I asked you about earlier on, was there any difference? Are you still at the same number? Sometimes when we do the tapping, we can become more aware that our breathing is restricted, and so you might actually find your awareness is that your breathing is more shallow than you thought it was, or what often happens, and it happened for me there, that your breathing becomes a little bit easier. Mine went from about a 5 to about a 7. Why do I use the breathing to demonstrate tapping? Well, because when we get anxious, our rib cage tightens, and our breath constricts, and the energy comes up further up into our head. We come up further into our bodies, so we're less grounded, and we have less access to our full resources. We're less able to think clearly and to make good choices and to be well grounded in what's happening now as opposed to what might be happening in the future. So the breath is a really, really good indicator of how anxious we are at any particular time. I'd really encourage you to use this very simple little tool to support yourself. I gave you a very simple example of how it can be used there, and that simple way can be used for anything that might be going on for you at a particular time. You could use it in relation to a feeling or a thought or a belief or a situation or anything like that. But I think that's enough for today, and I'd like to really appreciate you for watching my video today, and I'll post on the Facebook page here, I will post the little diagram that shows how the tapping points, where the tapping points are, and what the little process of it is. I wish you and your family well, and stay safe in these troubled times. Take care.